So today we're going to be doing lesson 5 on internet services. This is from our term 3 on networks that we've been working on, and lesson 5, the resources for this can be found in here. So we're going to do one of the worksheets. We're not going to do the A2 one. There's a video in here that we'll refer to in a sec, and the video I'm recording now will also be in here, and here are the slides. In addition to this assignment, there are 3 questions. They're separate things in Google Classroom, and you're going to put answers to these as we get to them in the video. So let's go over to the slides and get started. So the first thing we're talking about is the internet and the World Wide Web, and these are 2 distinct things. They are not the same thing, and that is one of the main things that we're looking at learning this lesson. We're going to be talking about the different services that are provided over the internet, how often they're used, talk about connectivity, and how internet connected devices can affect you positively and perhaps negatively. So the internet is the series of interconnected networks. It was originally created by the US military and called ARPANET, but of course it now spans the globe, and it's just all the networks in the world that are connected together in another big sort of massive network. That's the internet, and it's more that physical network. The World Wide Web is really the websites and the hyperlinking between the websites. So this is a service which is hosted on the internet, but it is a different thing. It was invented in the late 80s by Tim Berners-Lee, presumably part of a small group, but he's very much credited with this. And yeah, it's all about the websites and the fact that you can click on links to take you to other websites to create that web of information. So they're not the same thing, they are distinct. In terms of activity on the internet, the amount of activity is simply mind-boggling, and there are all these services that we use every day are being hammered millions of times a minute, and we're going to have a look at some of the figures that underline that. We would have gone around the classroom and done that, but I'm just going to jump straight through it. So here we have a typical internet minute in 2019. 1 million people logging into Facebook. That's like every minute. That's a lot. 41.6 million messages sent in Facebook and WhatsApp. Netflix, 694,444 hours watched, which kind of, if that's in a minute, that must mean that it's like, divide it by, times that by 60, that many people on at the same time watching stuff. So that's a lot. Online shopping, £800,000 spent. That almost seems like quite a small amount, but I suppose it's only a minute. But these numbers are big, right? 18.1 million text messages in a minute. That's just a lot. We're doing a lot of stuff on the internet. YouTube, 4.5 million views. So these services are standing up to this all the time. So the range of services that we are going to list, we've got the World Wide Web, web pages, email, online gaming, instant messaging, VoIP or voice over IP, which these days is often bundled into the same service as instant messaging. Things like WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger, they all kind of look the same these days and have all these features in them. Or something like Discord, which has that plus like streaming and all sorts of things. Media streaming, watching like Netflix, Amazon Prime, that kind of thing. So each of these services uses a different protocol. We looked at protocols earlier in the term, and each of these will have their own rules about how they communicate. How do you send a movie in real time to someone? How do you send an email? There are rules. Those are the protocols. Email, one we're going to look a bit closer at. This is one that we'll all be very familiar with. It's a way of sending us electronic messages to each other. Now you might think, well, there's lots of different ways of doing that. Discord, WhatsApp, why are they not email? They are electronically sending messages. But they are kind of closed platforms, whereas email is an open standard. You can get email addresses from different organizations. It's this kind of open thing, and it's not going anywhere. But there is a bit of a problem with email, and can be quite spammy. So spam is the name we give to email that is unwanted. Either we sign up to organizations willingly, and then they email us things that we're not really that interested in and end up deleting. That happens to me a lot. Or you straight up get emails from, criminals and stuff trying to get you to click on links and or just trying to scam you, or just trying to, I don't know, like some spam that I receive, I think literally, why did you send this? What was the purpose? But yeah, there's quite a lot of that going on. So VoIP, voice over IP, this allows phone calls to be conducted over the internet This might seem a bit kind of obvious now, but voice calls used to be conducted slightly differently with old style telephones. And then when we went to mobile phones, you'd have a contract that was a certain number of minutes and a certain number of text messages. Now, I think you still have that, but now you have minutes plus text messages plus data. And increasingly, the voice activity is being pushed over the data instead of over the minutes. And it tends to be cheaper that way. And there's lots more functionality that you can have with VoIP. So you have a worksheet. This is the only worksheet that you have to do today. It's matching up terms with, so if we go to L5, matching up terms with definitions. It's the A1 worksheet. So if you click on that, actually I've already got it open here. All you got to do is link up the terms on the left with the definitions on the right. Now, drawing lines doesn't really work in Google Docs, so the best bet is probably to color them in. So you could use highlight color maybe. If I highlight that one in red and I highlight that one in red, then I'm sort of saying, right, those two match up, and I could just do that for all of them, right? That's probably the easiest thing you could do. So have a go at that. You need to know how those terms match up with those definitions. Back to the presentation. So the Internet of Things. This is one of those trendy buzzwords that you see in a lot of tech conferences, and it's all about items that have existed in the world for some time now being given internet brains, like lights and locks for your house and fridges and all the speakers. These things used to exist, but now they're connected to the internet. And there's everything's kind of connected to everything, and so I can control my lights from my phone. Well, I can basically control everything from my phone. It becomes this portal of control. There's a video here that you're going to go and watch, and it's linked in the classroom. So you pause this video and then go and find the other video. It's in the classroom directly. Internet of Things. What is the Internet of Things? It's going to kind of talk you through the Internet of Things. Once you've watched that video, there's a question. The question is, the second question for the lesson is up here. Name one Internet of Thing device seen in the video. So just add yourself an answer to that question. You should be able to see each other's answers to that, and that will build up over the lesson period. So next up, Internet of Thing devices, true or false? A salt shaker that allows you to dispense salt remotely via a phone app. So is that a real thing or is that a false thing? Furbo, a camera that detects when your dog is barking and sends your phone a message. From your phone, you can see your dog and dispense treats. So kind of which ones of those are true? So yeah, the salt shaker is, I don't think that would be a thing, but I could imagine the dog thing being a thing. I feel like quite a lot of the time they're trying to invent reasons for Internet of Things to exist. Some of these are a bit dubious, really, aren't they? But people make them, people sell them, people buy them. So in the smart home, we talk about smart homes and smart cities. It just means everything's got an IP address and can be controlled via your phone. And you've got a series of icons, each one relating to a different service. We're not going to be matching those up here. You guys would have heard of a lot of these things, but we can't really do this remotely very easily. So the question I do want you to think about is, what harm could Internet of Things devices bring? So you would normally do this in pairs. So what you could do is just Google that question and sort of come up with some answer for yourself, like something fairly short. And then go back to the classwork. You've got lesson 5, question 3. What harm could Internet of Things devices brings? Type your answer in here. Have a look at what other people are saying. Really just consider the question about Internet of Things. Is it a good thing universally? What might the drawbacks be? So have a bit of think about that and then come back to this video. So Internet of Things concerns. Privacy is one of the major ones. They can collect a lot of information about you, and companies can learn a lot about you from all this disparate data. We talked about that before. So your security, you could be hacked. A lot of these Internet of Things devices have dubious security practices that they're basically all vectors of attack. And so just remembering the purpose, one of the main things of this lesson is the difference between the internet and the World Wide Web. I will ask this as a question on the classroom as well. So it will be question 4 under here. I haven't added it yet, but I will add it now. And so once you have answered the questions, like L5, question 1, 2, 3, and 4, once you have done that worksheet, hand that in. You are done. Go and relax.